So how does a huge institution, a pillar of knowledge, deal with a major financial crisis? Your first thought might be that they'd just slam on the brakes, right? Cut back on everything. But what if the real answer was to actually hit the accelerator? We're about to look at the story of a university that's facing some pretty intense pressure, but is also paradoxically doubling down on its own future.
Take a look at this tower. It's really the perfect metaphor for a modern university. It's this complex, carefully balanced thing, but you can see it's getting squeezed from both sides. From one direction, you've got all the internal pressures. We're talking tight budgets, deficits, and from the other, you have these relentless external crises. The whole structure is under a ton of strain, and the real challenge is just keeping it from falling over.
And this number right here, this makes it all painfully real. 200 million kronor. That is the target for a proposed savings plan. And you see how that number is literally filled with people? That's because this isn't just about spreadsheets and budgets. This is about over 2,300 staff members whose jobs are directly affected. This one number really sets the stage for some incredibly difficult decisions ahead.
All right, so let's start with the most immediate problem, the money. We're going to unpack the internal pressure that's building on the university's finances.
So this isn't just one problem, it's more like a financial pincer movement. On the left, you've got the active cuts. That's the 200 million kronor savings plan meant to patch the holes in the boat. But then, on the right, you have this other looming threat, a projected deficit of 121 million for 2025. So they're not just trying to save money, they're trying to keep from going right over a financial cliff.
This quote from the economic chief, Peter Telberg, really gets to the heart of the dilemma. He basically says, we don't have such high costs in relation to our revenues, but it is a challenging balance. And that's exactly what it is. It's a tightrope walk. They've been trying to reduce staff and slow down costs, but if you tip too far one way, you risk damaging the very thing the university is there to do.
So this brings us to a really fundamental choice. When you're facing this kind of pressure, you've basically got two paths. Do you retreat, cut back, and just try to survive? Or do you find a way to push forward and actually invest in your future? And you know what? Their answer is kind of surprising. They're choosing to build. Even with all these financial headwinds, the university is making these massive, long-term investments. They're essentially betting on themselves, right in the middle of all this uncertainty.
And believe me, this is not just talk. This picture shows a huge construction project, a brand new building for the School of Business, Economics, and Law. And get this, the completion date is set for 2030. That is an expensive, very real statement about their long-term vision.
And the investment isn't only in academic buildings. This here is the newly renovated Studenternes Hus, the Student House, and it's been nicknamed the House of Possibilities. This really shows a commitment not just to the research, but to the entire student community and to creating a vibrant campus life.
This quote from Albert Ugren explains exactly why this stuff matters. He says, previously, students weren't particularly aware of this opportunity, so these new spaces are literally creating possibilities that just weren't there before. The key takeaway here is pretty wild. While one hand is busy cutting the budget, the other hand is investing in the very thing that makes a university strong in the first place, its community.
But a university doesn't exist in a vacuum. Beyond all the internal struggles with budgets and buildings, it has a real responsibility to the world outside its doors. So now, let's take a look at how it's responding to the major global crises of our time.
It's really the ultimate question for any university, isn't it? What's the real-world impact of all this research and teaching? How does the knowledge that's created inside these walls actually help solve the problems out there?
Well, for one, it prepares us for the worst. This is the Center for Disaster Medicine. In an age of climate change, new pandemics, and conflicts, these are the folks training the next generation of healthcare professionals to respond effectively when a crisis hits. This is absolutely vital, real-world preparation.
And then there's this, providing critical analysis of our shifting world. Researchers here are digging into the European Union's leadership role as it gets challenged by a more authoritarian world. This kind of work is so important for understanding where we're all headed.
And of course, there's the information crisis. The headline on this article basically translates to, "Journalism is bad at evaluating evidence." In a world that is just flooded with content, experts at the university are asking these really tough questions about the media's role and, frankly, our own ability to tell what's real and what's not.
And there's that provocative quote again from Professor Jesper Strombeck. Journalism is bad at evaluating evidence. His point is that even the media struggles with this. And it really shines a light on a fundamental role of the university, to champion critical thinking and a view of the world that's based on evidence, especially when we need it the most.
Okay, so we've looked at the financial pressures. We've seen the global responses. But what's the engine driving all of this? Underneath it all, you find the bedrock, the core mission of any great university, the deep, relentless pursuit of knowledge itself.
And you know, sometimes that pursuit takes you to the absolute edge of the world. The headline here reads, Eichite Hunt in Greenland. This piece is about an expedition searching for a super rare mineral called eichite, a hunt that's not driven by profit, but by pure, simple curiosity.
So you have this geologist, Gabrielle Jarvik Stockman, and she's studying these incredible underwater columns that can be 20 meters tall. By looking at a mineral that can only form in near-freezing water, she is unlocking fundamental secrets about our planet. This is the very essence of pure research, answering questions just because the answers are out there, waiting to be discovered.
But discovering all this amazing knowledge is really only half the mission. The other half is sharing it. For 30 years now, the university's Vetenskapsfestivalen, or Science Festival, has been doing exactly that, breaking down the walls between the research lab and the general public. And let's be really clear, this is so much more than just a fun event. In our current age of rampant disinformation, the simple act of sharing verifiable facts and sparking genuine curiosity in people has become a critical public service. It's basically an antidote to ignorance.
Which brings us to one last thought. When you weigh the painful financial cuts against the bold investments in the future, the global crises against the pure search for knowledge, what is the ultimate value of a university today? Well, maybe it's being a place that, no matter the pressure, stays dedicated to one simple idea, that understanding our world is the only real way we have to build a better one.